Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
It's a football Friday, and after a magical week one, the Jerod Mayo experience has returned to earth for the Patriots. Arch Manning is ready for his first start, and something has to give for the Ravens and Cowboys this week. Today's Football Friday is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Aaron Rodgers still got a little magic in that arm. A 24-3 win over the New England Patriots. Jets-Patriots rivalry not quite renewed. Also, like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, like we couldn't have had this for a long time. That would have been a fun way to do all of this, but Patriots, Tom Brady, they didn't want to play ball with us. Mike Debate from Locked On Patriots always wants to play ball with us. And Mike, this looked like the Patriots team that through 2 weeks we didn't see. We saw it in week 3.
Yeah, we absolutely saw it in week 3. If the Patriots had a moment where they are exposed in all 3 phases of the game, it was tonight in the Meadowlands. And it's ironic in a place where the Patriots have had so much dominance, so much success in recent years, whether it be in MetLife Stadium or whether it be at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. These two teams, usually it was a lopsided affair, but this was a lopsided contest for the Jets, in the favor of the Jets tonight. And the New England Patriots definitely feeling the effects without question.
So what happened to the running game for the New England Patriots? Because they were getting mostly what they wanted. This is a Jets team that could not stop the run. We saw it in week 1 against the 49ers. I understand the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan can be a different beast, but playing light boxes, not having the right personnel matched up. And yet in this one, Ramondre Stevenson, 6 for 23, also had the big turnover. Why couldn't the Patriots get their offense going in this one?
I think the Jets did a very smart thing tonight, Peter, in the fact that they stacked the box at times, made the Patriots a little bit gun shy in terms of being able to run the ball at will, and that will slow down your running game. And there's no question about it. They wanted to dare Jacoby Brissett to throw the football, try to take shots down the field, make things happen in the passing game. Patriots proved tonight, unfortunately, that they just simply cannot do that. Jacoby Brissett ran for his life on nearly every drop back. The offensive line continues to be a huge problem for this team, and the pass catchers are simply not on the same page as their quarterback right now. Even when Jacoby had a clean pocket, it wasn't often, but there were moments where he did. He missed receivers routinely. So Patriots have a lot of problems on offense. They got 10 days to fix them against what's going to be a very tough test in San Francisco.
And you mentioned that tough task in San Francisco, but we saw Drake May in this one. And in fact, some extended Drake May time. He got 8 attempts up in this game. And I think if you're a Patriots fan, you're wondering, is it time to go to Drake May? I think if you're maybe a cynical Patriots fan or even a rational Patriots fan, you might say, you look at this offensive line and you go, please don't let Drake May get killed behind this group. Like this almost seems in a way to be exactly why Drake May's not out there. So how did the Patriots walk that fine line?
It's a fine line to walk, and I know the fan base is going to be clamoring for it for the next 10 days. We want Drake May in there. You saw the offense come alive
Extra
a little
time
bit.
to prepare. Come on, this is the perfect time.
It just seems like the stars are aligning for Drake May to make his first start in San Francisco. But, Peter, I think you hit the nail right on the head. You're looking at problems along the offensive line.
Yeah.
Caden Wallace proved tonight that he still has a long way to go before he's a starting caliber left tackle in this league. Michael Jordan, who was called up from the practice squad just a few days ago.
Not that Michael Jordan.
53. Yeah, no relation to his airness. But in any case, he's called up from the practice squad, signed to the 53-man roster. He leaves the game with an ankle injury. Zach Thomas, not the Zach Thomas of Miami Dolphins fame, but the Zach Thomas that came in that aligned as a jumbo tight end at times.
Yeah.
He's coming in and he's playing left guard. this is a makeshift offensive line, and even the right side has had difficulty with Michael Wenu, who is arguably your best offensive lineman behind David Andrews. Layden Robinson's a rookie. He's still getting used to it. It's very difficult for the Patriots to say, yes, Drake May, roll him out, let him get used to it. He's got to learn how to play behind an offensive line. The play of the offensive line is that bad where the Patriots really have to stop and think about whether or not they're doing long-term damage to their most valuable asset.
Stay up to date on the New England Patriots all year long by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Patriots on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Thanks for making Locked On Sports Today your first listen. Coming up on a Football Friday, Arch Manning is set to make his first start. Before we get to that, Shohei Otani is redefining what video game numbers actually means. Game Time makes getting to the ballpark even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets on the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the free app and new users can get $20 off their first purchase with code Locked On. Terms apply. That's code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Shohei Otani joined the 50-50 club as the Dodgers clinched a playoff berth on Thursday. No, it's not a Jay-Z song. The 50-50 club. We're not talking about a coin flip. We're talking about 50 homers and 50 steals in 2024. And he did it in a game where he completely dominated an entire team. The Dodgers beat the Marlins 20-4. And Otani set career highs for a single game in multiple categories. He had 3 homers, 6 hits, and 10 runs batted in, all career bests. Yes, that's a game. Shohei has to be looking ahead too. He has played 866 games without reaching the postseason, the most among active players. And that's going to end soon. The Big 12 is wondering, do BYU, Texas Tech, and Arizona State not suck?
Chris Level, Richie Bradshaw, you guys play each other, Texas Tech and Arizona State. Now, it just, to me, feels like both teams just happy to be here. I have not seen a single piece of hate online between these two fan bases. Richie, talk about Chris's hairline or something. Talk about the gray in his beard. Give me some moxie because this matchup feels way too nice.
It really does. And me and Chris actually just had a crossover episode that you can find on Locked On Texas Tech and Locked On Sun Devils if you guys want more detail about this
cross
game.
Promotion. I love it. See, my man's working it. Out of the way, Richie. Out of the baby.
Absolutely. But
stop hyping each other up. Stop being nice.
Okay, fine. Hey, Chris, remember Kalen Balazs?
That was my joke. That was what I was supposed to say.
I'm stealing it.
Yeah, Kalen Balazs about, what was that, 15 or 16? He ran for 8 touchdowns against the Red Raiders. 8 of them, folks.
Scattergood's getting 8 again. It's going to be crazy.
Hey, so if we're asking for predictions for games and everything, I'm just going to get in front of it. For fear of JT and Parker and Richie throwing a urine bomb my way, all the 6 home teams in the Big 12 games this week are winning. The end. I'm one of the old guys in this Big 12. Some of you new guys are just new to this league. Home teams are winning out of the gate, gentlemen.
Jake,
that's
you hear
the way
that?
it's going down.
Hey.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Late night at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, beaten.
I'm calling it, Jake. Kansas State, and they got a big game next week. I think Kansas State comes in fat and happy. They're always due for an early slip up, and I think feed them all those donuts you guys feed them, and you give ice cream to the crowd. I've been there before. I know what's up in Provo.
Those cougar tails will do them in, no doubt.
Yes. When I was there, they sprinkled bacon on them. It was actually a little salty sweet, very nice.
You guys got the special edition that when they put the bacon on top.
I love the fact that Lubbock and Provo are talking. Lubbock and Provo talking about distracting opponents on the way in. Like there's a lot to do in both of those places. I love that. I love that.
Provo has 2 bars, gentlemen. I'll tell you that. They have got exactly 2
And
bars.
I've been to one of them.
Too more than I thought.
I'm one of the few people who can say that I've been to one of them, and I was the only one there. And gosh, was it an experience?
Did you get like a T-shirt that said "I've been here"?
And the key to the Cardinals beating the Lions lies with limiting Aiden Hutchinson. Good luck with that one.
This is a true test for this, offensive line that's been moved around. Paris Johnson Jr. looked good last week. Evan Brown, left guard, he was the highest rated, I believe. He was the highest rated, Pro Football Focus rated offensive lineman for the Cardinals. Left guard was the biggest hole void that the Cardinals had last year. Yalta Froholt is a fringe Pro Bowler at center, coming out of nowhere, got a contract extension before the season started. And then Will Hernandez and Kelvin Beachum on the right are going to have their plates full with Aiden Hutchinson, et cetera. I do see the Cardinals running a little bit more shotgun just because, gives Kyler Murray an extra second before Aiden Hutchinson's in his face. I think they're going to run the ball and they're going to try and establish the run like they always do. This is a run-first team, which could, render Aiden Hutchinson a little bit more obsolete than if they were throwing the ball 35 times.
College game day, heading to Norman for the first time in quite a while, and it'll be the Tennessee Vols up there. And we all know Josh Heupel, of course, had great success as a player at Oklahoma, very revered there. He's been trying to downplay it. This ain't about me, it's about the team and all this kind of stuff. But Eric, start with your Vols. They seem pretty focused and a team on a mission so far.
Yeah, I think so. Tennessee's looked really good the first couple weeks, and NC State turns out wasn't really much of a challenge, and we'll see if they turn into anything offensively. But right now, it's not a very good football team. So Tennessee's played 3 pretty bad football teams, and this is obviously going to be a huge challenge. Having said all that, the defense has still been much better than I thought it would be. Defensive line continues to look like one of the best groups in the country. Explosive plays are back offensively. And Tennessee's run game, as I mentioned a moment ago, has been second to none. So, playing with a lot of confidence right now. Should be playing with a lot of confidence. And you look at Oklahoma and some of the struggles and certainly the injuries the Sooners have been dealing with on the offensive side of the football. It's easy to see why Tennessee's kind of a trending pick here this week. But got to go on the road, got to control the elements, and that's something that Tennessee has not done well in recent years. Georgia 22, South Carolina 22, Florida last year, Missouri last year. It's going to be up to Nico and this staff to kind of change that narrative and a big test here in the early going.
Anybody think Oklahoma, we see their best shot? This defense has played well. It's just the offense has not been great. But do we see a motivated bunch? Do we see Oklahoma come out? Keep in mind, they haven't had their full complement of receivers and offensive line since Nick. Nick's coming back this week. So we'll see.
No, I don't. No, I don't. And I know, of course, I'm the Texas fan, so it's of course he doesn't see Oklahoma. But just when you look at this offense, they really haven't played anybody, and they've just struggled mightily. Jackson Arnold's still yet to throw for over 200 yards this season. Only one wide receiver over 100 yards. No running back over 150 yards.
No run game at all. Jackson Arnold
exactly
is the only runner, yeah.
Exactly, completely replacing that offensive line. And when you look at it, their defense has been good, but it hasn't necessarily been elite, right? They, Houston was in the game the entire time. Donovan Smith threw for 260 yards. They gave up 19 points to Tulane, where I think Tennessee has only given up 13 points on the entire season, right? So I think both defenses will play well in this game, but who do I trust more, Tennessee's offense against Oklahoma's defense, or Oklahoma's offense against Tennessee's defense, where Oklahoma's offense has not looked good at all at any point throughout this season? Tennessee is favored by a touchdown. I think they win by a touchdown or more, even on the road in Norman.
I think this could be a trap in the country right now. Like I don't like. I hate to say it, Eric. Especially now that I know that you're like 12 years old and missed the entire 90s, which was the worst time to ever be opposed to a Tennessee team. They were incredible then. But I hate to say it, but you watch this team, and sure, Josh Heupel's a bit of a jerk for onside kicking up 30 points against whoever, or not Toledo, but whoever Kent State from a week ago. But you look at how they're operating. Like Nico was the lowest rated quarterback in the conference last week on like PFF quarterback grades, which, take that with a grain of salt if you want. And they were still up like 65-0 at the half. Like Oklahoma's been bad offensively. I don't think this one's close.
I think this game could be a Brent Venables wheelhouse type game. He's going to muck it up. He's going to play slow. He's going to play defense and try and win a 17-14 game. I think that is his wheelhouse and that is his way forward. I just don't know that Oklahoma can do it because Tennessee's offense is just ridiculous right now.
Well, and you can muck it up a little bit, but you've got to be able to score a lot of points. And again, I'm not sure Oklahoma can do that. I think P. Diddy will win Humanitarian of the Year before Oklahoma beats Tennessee this weekend.
You know what? This national game of the week, quite possibly, this is actually my pick of the week. As long as you can get it less than a touchdown, I will give the 6.5 with Tennessee.
Wow. Well,
the road numbers are kind of scary from what Eric brought up. I will say that.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit like Michigan against Texas, where I think they were getting a lot of credit for their name and last season. I think that's a little bit what's happening with Oklahoma right now.
Well, let me paint a picture though for you. All the talk of Heupel coming back and the beloved quarterback. What if Nico has his first terrible game of the year? What if he throws 2 interceptions, a pick 6? Like that's honestly what Oklahoma's going to need. You got Danny Stutzman, you got Billy Bowman, you got some great defensive players. They're going to need, kind of what I'm looking at the NFL a week ago, what the Bears did to Will Levis. Like, you're going to need a special teams touchdown. You're going to need a pick 6. But it's not crazy to think. But no. I don't know. I think that crowd's going to be hyped. I mean, the Big 12 is already sending messages to Oklahoma. Don't mess this up, guys. You left us for that. Don't lose your first SEC game.
Well, I think the run game for Tennessee and Dylan Sampson is so important in this game. Like, all eyes are going to be on Nico. This is truly Nico's. I mean, yeah, he started in the Citrus Bowl last year against an Iowa defense that was pretty good. That was a big time test, and he passed. This year, NC State, sure, but this is his first huge test, right? Going on the road, hostile environment, something he's never done. All eyes, are going to be on him. Dylan Sampson's ability to run the football behind that veteran offensive line. Tennessee has averaged 200 yards on the ground a game since Josh Heupel's been here. Take some pressure off Nico, and he doesn't have to hit a deep ball to get settled in or something. You can rely on that run game and then just kind of go and play your ball. And I know, Brent Venables is going to try to muck it up and slow things down. But if Tennessee can run the ball, and rely on that run game all week, all game long, I don't think that matters, because I think the play action and RPO is going to come off that run game. It's just going to be really good for Tennessee.
The way
a 60-minute football game, I want to say, it's a 60-minute football game, and Brent Venables could muck it up early, right? It could be a close game early, going into the half. But this Oklahoma offense, you're not going to convince me that after 3 straight weeks of struggling, they take such a big step up in competition and then magically just put it all together. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not going to be able to outscore this Tennessee offense in a 60-minute football game. They keep it close going into halftime, but Tennessee eventually pulls away. Like I said, like John Miller said, I love Tennessee by 6.5, a touchdown, whatever. I'm not going to say it's not close, like Marler said, but I do think Tennessee goes in there and wins fairly convincingly.
Stay up to date all year on the Southeastern Conference by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On SEC on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, something has to give in the Ravens-Cowboys matchup this week. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. Plus, you can cancel anytime. For that $5 bet, you could take a look at some week 3 lines. The Dallas Cowboys home dogs to the Baltimore Ravens. FanDuel has the Ravens favored by 1.5 as they head to Jerry World. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to download America's #1 sportsbook. The Ravens absolutely cannot start out 0-3, but the Cowboys, they can't lose back-to-back games after all the good vibes in week 1, right? Well, one of them has to lose this week in Dallas.
First of all, get out to an early lead. I think, to me, with what this Ravens team has done over the first 2 weeks, it's been offensive inconsistency, which has been a little bit of an issue for them, where they'll either start fast, like we saw in week 1, they go up 5 carries to Derrick Henry, score, touchdown, or it's the other part of it where you start slow and then you find something and then it kind of falls off after that. So a consistent 60 minutes of football with a fast start on the offensive side of the ball, and obviously that does include protecting Lamar Jackson, opening up rushing lanes on the offensive line like we talked about earlier. The second thing is late game execution and just situational and game awareness in general. John Harbaugh's taken a lot of flack over these first 2 weeks, and a lot of it deserved for his game management. Obviously, in that Raiders game in week 2, challenged a pretty obvious Devontae Adams catch, lost them a timeout in the second half, and they needed that timeout in order to give the offense enough time to drive down the field to try to tie and win the game. They didn't have it. And so there's been a lot of that. The Ravens, in their fourth quarter leads, they've blown more fourth quarter leads in the last 5 years than any team. The Raiders hadn't won a game being down 10 plus points in the fourth quarter in 49 games, but the Raiders got that lucky number 50 against Baltimore. So if they're up in the fourth quarter, you have to be able to shut the door on this Dallas team. You can't let any momentum in, because we saw in that week 2 game, it was just time after time, play after play. You could see the momentum slipping away from the Ravens. And the final thing is, don't let CeeDee Lamb beat you. If he's able to play in this game, he's the guy that you have to be able to cover. He's the guy you have to be able to take out of the game plan. Now, that's much easier said than done. CeeDee's a heck of a player, and I still expect him to go and get his. But against the Raiders, it was, well, stop Devontae Adams, and Devontae had over 110 yards and a touchdown. So make a guy like Brandon Cooks beat you. Make a guy like Jalen Tolbert beat you. If Jalen Ferguson, if you know, you got Jake Ferguson, if he's a guy that plays, make him stop. Make him be the guy that beats you. Or the run game, even that. But if CeeDee Lamb beats you, you know that's the guy that can and will eliminate the Cowboys' best player. And that, to me, at least gives you a shot, and you're okay with someone else being the guy that beats you at the end.
And then, Kevin, on the Cowboys side of things, they've got to find a way to get to 3rd and long. Last week, it's hard to believe, the Saints had 1 third down in the entire first half. Wow. 1, and it was 3rd and short. Mike Zimmer is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league when he gets to 3rd and long, and he can design some of his exotic rushes. Now, he's not going to blitz a lot, but what he's going to do is show 6 or 7 blitzers, drop 3, and then send 4 in all these crazy directions. Last week, they weren't able to do any of that stuff because they never got the 3rd down. They never got the Saints into obvious passing situations. So whether that means run blitzing on early downs, however you can get the Lamar Jackson and the Ravens into some of these 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, you're going to have a chance to win on defense. On offense, I get the feeling, Kevin, that this is not going to be a game in which the Cowboys put up 450 yards, 500 yards. It's going to be you're going to get 3 red zone drives. You better convert on all 3 red zone drives into touchdowns. Last week, the Cowboys had to settle for too many field goals inside the 20-yard line because of sacks, fumbles, drop passes, miscommunications. You have to be more effective in the red zone. It's been a problem for the Cowboys early on this year. It was a problem for the Cowboys early on last year. So you're at home. Take advantage of those red zone opportunities. And the last thing, and this is probably the most important, one of the disturbing trends about this Cowboys team is when they get up in a game, they start to roll, right? Like they have all the confidence in the world. And that's why you see so many blowouts. And it's why you see this Cowboys team have one of the highest point differentials in the league each and every year. Baltimore's up there as well. But when things go poorly, they tend to let it snowball, right? The offense starts to press if the defense gives up back-to-back touchdowns. The defense starts to be over-aggressive, and that's when they get beat with plays down the field. the Baltimore Ravens are a good team. I know the record doesn't say that, but we know they're a good team. They're going to make some plays. They're going to score some points. Don't feel like the game is over if you give up 10 points in the first 20 minutes. Don't let things snowball. Try to keep this close and see if you can steal a game at home at the end.
And finally, I would have thought the last 18 months would have been enough for Detroit Lions fans. After decades of irrelevance, they were a couple plays away from the Super Bowl, a team that this year has a chance to be a Super Bowl team. And yet, the head coach admitted he's selling his suburban Detroit home to get more privacy because fans found out where he was living after a loss. One loss. You'd have thought after years and years and years of losing, Lions fans would have been used to it by now. And now a team finally is built the right way, coached the right way, creates a culture the right way, and one loss puts them on tilt. It's sad. Don't do that. Don't be like that. Not Lions fans, not any fans. It's not a good look. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up on the next Locked On Sports Today, who just saved their season in the NFL? You know, someone's gonna. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.